Kindiki, the Honorable Right Honorable Raila Odinga, colleagues, cabinet secretaries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, let me join the long list of those who have congratulated you for this very important proclamation you have made in declaring this day an annual observance to renew our nationalism and commit to the ideals that bind us as one nation. I trust it will also be a good signal to the Ministry of Education to reintroduce civics as a fundamental subject in our educational institutions. Today, Kenya joins our over 60 countries globally that have designated and commemorate National Constitution Days. These include nations such as Norway, Denmark, the USA, China, and India, among others. Notably, Kenya now stands among the pioneering states in Africa to establish and observe a National Constitution Day. Your Excellency, the noble decision to designate the Katiba Day is long overdue but timely. For example, India, the world's largest democracy, adopted its constitution on November 26, 1949. But it was not until November 26, 2015, that the country officially began commemorating the Constitution Day. Similarly, it was not until 2024 that the United States of America officially established commemoration of the Constitution Day every 17th of September. Personally, it was a privilege to oversee the early implementation of devolution when I served in the Grand Coalition government as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Local Government. I oversaw the development of the sessional paper on devolved government under the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Today, we all celebrate the decentralized power, fostered equitable development, and we celebrate our diversity, making devolution a cornerstone of the Constitution. Fellow Kenyans, let us cast our minds back to the harrowing days of 2007 and 2008 post-election violence. It was a stark reminder that without strong institutions, chaos reigned. In the midst of that turmoil, hope flickered through the Serena talks mediated by the late Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, His Excellency Benjamin Mkapa, Madam Gracia Machel, under the auspices of the panel of eminent African personalities. I was honored and privileged to be with you, Your Excellency, William Ruto, the Honorable Moses Wetangula, the Honorable Martha Karua, the Honorable James Orengo, the Honorable Professor Samson Ongeri, the Honorable Dr. Sally Kosgei, and the late Honorable Mutula Kilonzo as the negotiators in the Annan-led Serena talks, which came up with the National Accord. From those talks emerged critical reports reviewing the electoral system through the Kriegler report and the Waki reports to handle post-election violence. Your Excellency, according to the tracking of our State Department for Parliamentary Affairs, the tenacity of the 2010 Constitution to withstand pressure and not even crack at the height of intense pounding is a true reflection of the Kenyan indomitable spirit. The 1963 Constitution was amended 30 times. That means roughly once every 2 years, including the infamous Section 2A. On the other hand, the 2010 Constitution has had 14 constitutional amendment attempts. Mark my word here, attempts. Vide parliamentary initiatives those were 10, and 4 via popular initiatives, the popular initiative route. Of course, the majority of the parliamentary attempts were to solve the issue of realizing the 2/3 gender rule in Parliament. Let me just take a minute to reflect on the 4 popular initiatives. The Speaker has partly touched on them. 1, the Building Bridges Initiative via the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill of 2020, which contained some 74 proposed changes. Then came the Okoa Kenya initiative, spearheaded by the CORD coalition around 2015, which sought electoral reforms, changes to the structure of the IEBC, and increasing funding to counties under Article 203. Third, there was the Okoa Uchumi initiative in 2016, led by a civil society coalition aimed at physical reforms by amending provisions on public finance management. Lastly, there was the Punguza Muzigo Bill of 2019, sponsored by Ukuru Akot and the Third Way Alliance, which proposed far-reaching changes, including reducing the number of members of parliament, abolishing nominated seats, strengthening county governments, and altering the presidential term limits. Having looked at those, let me also pose a few rhetorical questions. Is it impossible to amend the 2010 Constitution? Or did the attempts not meet the constitutional threshold to amend? Or is it the Constitution resisting, amendments for want of procedure? Finally, does it also mean that this Constitution does not pander to political fiat? 15 years down the line, in this spirit of vigilance, we must firmly oppose any amendments that undermine the basic foundations of constitutionalism, particularly those that erode the sacred principle of separation of powers. The 3 arms of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, are independent, yet profoundly interdependent. Your Excellency, this Constitution has also been tested and proven to be built to create strong institutions. All of us will remember when on 1st September 2017, the Supreme Court surprised all and sundry when they annulled a presidential election. The executive then respected the court ruling, and the country went back to a repeat presidential election, the first such action on the African continent. That moment showed that Kenya, through the 2010 Constitution, had grown into a mature democracy. Your Excellency, as we celebrate the strides of the 2010 Constitution, let us be clear, the Constitution is not an end in itself, and this has been said by previous speakers. The one thing that we need to resolve is the need to look at the cost of implementation of the Constitution. And indeed, the Speaker has articulated this very effectively. We, from the Department of Parliamentary Affairs, have audited the legislative agenda of the government for the next 5 years since we came in under your leadership, Your Excellency. And the costing indicates that if we were to follow the normal route that we are taking today, it will cost us about 18 billion Kenya shillings to just deal with legislation, drafting of policies, and working towards that. And this is something that has been brought out, costed by the individual departments. Now, we must look at it in the context of the impact on the taxpayer. Is there value for money if we use 20 billion shillings on policy documents, or should we provide medicine in our hospitals and build bridges? This is a fundamental question that Kenyans ought to reflect on, and hence the importance of the public participation bill. We cannot have multiple layers of public participation on the same issue, from the executive to the parliament to the county governments to the technocrats, multiple layers on the same issue. That, in my view, is robbing the Kenyans. We need to look at it carefully. Finally, Your Excellency, having said all this, I was very careful. I came with written remarks because on matters constitution, you don't want to be misquoted. But let me end by once again saluting Kenyans for the 2010 Constitution and really reiterating that this is a foundation of our legacy as a stable democracy, and through a stable constitution, stable democracy, we shall attract more investment and create better opportunities for our Kenyan people. It is now my duty, Your Excellency, to invite His Excellency the Deputy President to come back to the podium so that he can navigate us to the final stage with you. I just want to tease him a little bit as he comes. I saw in the program, Your Excellency, the song, My Land is Kenya, and I was waiting for it because the writer and composer of that song was a gentleman who went to Nairobi School, and he was born in Kenya. He was called Roger Whittaker. And this gentleman went to Lenana. Mr. Deputy President, it's your turn.
Your speech. We have in our midst a statesman, an elder statesman, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has done a lot for this country. It's only fair that we recognize him and ask him to say jambo. Karibu, Prime Minister, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. I was telling His Excellency there that you should have started this meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is a very important subject that you don't bring in the afternoon. Most people are tired. But I'm very happy to be here this morning, this afternoon. And let me begin by saluting the people of Kenya who braved a painful struggle, not only to give themselves a new constitution, but also to make the word constitution a popular and a valid subject for discussion in our country. Those who have come of age towards the tail end of the very protracted struggle under this constitution may not believe it. But there was a time when being perceived to be harboring thoughts about a new constitution landed people in jail. I wish to pay unreserved tribute to those citizens of Kenya, the living and the dead, who braved the worst in order that Kenya may get a new constitution. And here, you may remember some of them. The late Masinde Muliro, my father Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Martin Shikuku, George Ndenge, Ahmed Bamariz, Philip Gachoka, and then my other teams, the Young Turks, Paul Muite, James Orengo, Professor Nyang Nyong'o, Yua Ger, Toby Manyara, Kitui. And then members of my parliamentary select committee who started the serious process of making a new constitution. One of them, His Excellency the President here. The other one, the son of Anna, the Prime Cabinet Secretary. The other one, Kalonzo Musyoka, Noah Katanangala, the late George Anyona, Martha Karua, those others there. I want to congratulate all of them. There are so many other Kenyans who made it possible for us to have a new constitution. With the proclamation, I want to first say that I want to thank the government and the president for proclamation that has made this day a Katiba Day.